Anytime I'm able to harvest something myself, I feel like I'm doing something good by going out and sourcing something sustainably. I'm Brandon Kirkland. Today we're making pan-fried wild pheasant and a mushroom cream sauce. These are pheasants that we harvested ourselves. It always seems to taste better. First thing I'm gonna do is just get my shallot and garlic ready. This is actually gonna be used in the mushroom cream sauce. I like to cut it really thin when it goes into a sauce. When I was in culinary school, almost everything started with shallots and garlic. So I kind of got used to just doing that. Now mushrooms here, I got some different trumpet mushrooms. I'm really just gonna kind of give a rough chop. Next step is gonna be getting some fresh herbs in there, thyme, rosemary, and then I'm just gonna fine dice these. Next, we're gonna be getting our pheasant breaded. Here I have 2 pheasants worth of breasts. What I'm gonna do is I got a little all-purpose flour here with just some salt and pepper. I'm just gonna stir that in. Again, I have just a little seasoning to my Italian breadcrumbs here. And then we've got 2 eggs and get those ready. From there, you're gonna go straight into flour, egg, and breadcrumb. South Dakota is kind of the mecca of pheasant hunting. We went out there for 5 days and you pretty much are just walking cornfields and different ditches. Pheasant, primarily lives on the ground. They have these really long legs and they run like crazy. When that thing jumps up 2 feet in front of you, it will scare the hell out of you. The fun that I have with the people I go hunting with, every trip, whether you get something or not, is an experience. So cast iron, I cook probably 90% of my food on cast iron. We're just gonna go pheasant right into the pan. I got it pretty hot ahead of time with a little bit of avocado oil, about a tablespoon of butter. You want to look for that perfect kind of golden brown. I would say about 3 minutes on each side. Go right back into a little sheet tray. Throw these in the oven for about 10 minutes or so. Next thing we're gonna do, get my pan pretty hot here. A little bit of oil. Mushrooms tend to soak up a lot of moisture, so you're gonna have to add more oil and more butter than you think. I'm gonna add the mushrooms. Now I'm gonna use a pretty good glob of butter because what I'm gonna do is I want these to caramelize. So once the butter's all melted and incorporated, that's where I'll kind of make a little opening, and then that's gonna be my little griddle platform for my shallot and garlic. So throw those in there, slowly incorporate those. Got my little herb mix from before. Gonna incorporate that, and I've got about a cup of cream here. I'm gonna add a little bit of that, and then turn my temperature down real low, stir it all in, make sure it's all incorporated. As this will kind of be on a simmer for a little bit, you'll end up with a thicker sauce at the end. In the meantime, I'm gonna check on the pheasant, see what temperature we're at. So I'm at 160, right? We're kind of where we wanna be. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull these out now. And now we're just gonna do kind of a French classic here. They call it haricot vert, and it's just green beans. I've already blanched and shocked these, so boiled them for just a little bit, and then you put them in ice water. What that does is it keeps the green color very vibrant. Now we've got high smoke point oil. Just gonna put them in, get some quick blisters on them. I got a little salt, black pepper, and then I always like to add acid, so I do a little white wine and a little fresh lemon juice. White wine, lemon will add a nice kind of bright vibrancy to the dish because we're so earthy and kind of hearty on the other components. These are gonna be tossed back onto a little sheet tray after they've been blistered. A little slivered almonds in there, and then I'll just kind of sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on top. I'll throw those in the oven just to kind of get a little melty and get a little hot. All right, so next step, I always try to incorporate a balanced meal, being a starch, a protein, and a vegetable. So what I did is I pre-cooked some wild rice. All I'm gonna do is kind of slow saute, medium heat, some white onion. This is kind of a play on rice pilaf, if you will. Growing up, it was always a part of life was going hunting and fishing and cooking and cleaning and eating what you're gonna have. With hunting, I think it's also a big form of sustainability. I've really kind of been conscious of what we're putting into our bodies. If we put a little bit of time into starting some seeds at the right time of year and educating yourself on canning and processing, you can create a cellar that is all 100% product that you grew, that you harvested yourself with no chemical or non-organic integration. When you cook your own food, knowing where it came from, knowing all the steps taken to produce it, it always seems to taste better. Checking on green beans. Cheese is melted, that's how you know it's ready to go. So ready for plate up. 1 scoop wild rice, 2 pheasant pieces. Because they're thin, I usually serve them in 2. Normally when I'm cooking this, it's for a group of hunters, so we always like bigger portions. I'll get my haricots or my green beans, just get a nice little bundle. And then the sauce, which has now reduced beautifully. Add a little bit of salt, some cracked black pepper. I always like to get a really kind of mushroom heavy glob to start as like a separate component, and I'll just do a little bit right over the top. Final little touch, microgreen, and that is pan-fried wild pheasant. That mushroom cream sauce is just so earthy and warming. And you get the nice crispiness of the green beans. It's incredible. This is what I call field to fork.